Hey you, I'm Jer. I'm the tech lead for Global Voices, and here I am. I'm going to make a little video about our design changes that we're calling Refresh 2020. That's my stupid name for it. I just wrote one of probably the longest blog post we've ever had about design for some of the most subtle design changes we've ever had. So I figured I'd do a video and show them off to you rather than expecting you to read all of that. So here we are on Global Voices. This is our theme. We've had it since 2014 when we released it to some great fanfare. Everyone loved it. It's classy, it's simple, it's got a lot of black and white, which is strong because our content is so strong. But it's been 6 years, and we don't have a full redesign to show you, but we think it's about time for some little tweaks and changes. So yeah, I'm going to go over some of them. So here we have an example article page with this big, beautiful art, and we have the nice long text with lots of block quotes and using all the formats properly. Now, why don't I just jump in and show you how it'll look after the redesign, the little refresh. So come to the right. Here is the same article in the new style. So, shall we go over some of the things that are different? Well, why don't you tell me? First of all, the text size is different. If we scroll down and compare them, you can see the main article font size is significantly larger. People like bigger text. I really think it's true. And on the core team, we talked about it, and we all thought this was easier to read. I know that when I come to Global Voices, I tend to use my keyboard and just make things gigantic so that I can read them better. So why don't we save everyone the trouble and have bigger text? The font is different. It's one of those called FFTISA. It's a paid font, and it has to download to people's computers. We thought it was cool. It's kind of funky, but we've switched to a more classic one called Georgia. It's simple. It's already on everyone's computer, so it's that much faster for the site to load, especially on poor connections, which we know we always want to cover on Global Voices. So there you go. Bigger text. Good starting point. What else is different? Well, you'll notice this sidebar has a lot of changes. Now, the first one, you notice, it's the gray box is gone. Okay, well, I think it looks great. I think it makes the connection between all this stuff at the top to show this is the metadata about the post, separate from the more stories kind of stuff that isn't directly related to this post. What else is different up here? Well, the translations have moved. Look at that. These beautiful translations up here. They match the bar at the top. I'm in love with this change. I don't know why we didn't do this earlier. It gives prominence to our translations. It shows off our amazing power of our lingua translation community. And if someone actually, knows Italian and they're Italian and they'd rather read Italian, well, are they really going to find it if it's over here in the sidebar with the gray background and everything hiding it? I don't know, but I don't want to find out. I think this is a nice change that really celebrates our translators and is more useful for people. What else is different over here? Well, I have bad news for people who love these Facebook and Twitter buttons, which is in the new one, we get rid of them. They're messy, they're noisy, they don't work properly in the Arabic website, and most importantly, they download a bunch of crap to your computer. It's slow, it's heavy, it uses like megabytes sometimes. And it's probably tracking all of us. So by removing these buttons, we remove the fact that everyone's getting tracked on every single article they visit. In the article that this is probably embedded in, hi article, you can find a link to a site called Shared Count, and you can take a URL and put it in and see how many likes there are. If you just want to know how many likes there are, you could totally find out on that site or on a bunch of other places. All right, there's some other changes that get kind of detailed. Oh, we could see here down at the bottom of the article, used to be you just went from the end of the article to the credits, and now we've moved that's on mobile. So let's look at the mobile version. So I'm going to open this up. You can ignore this part on the right. This is just a way for me to show you what it's like. So this is sort of a tablet size. If we were looking at it on a tablet, it would look like this. Here's the old one. Here's the new one. What's different? Old one, new one. Well, for one thing, you can see the headline got a heck of a lot bigger. Part of this refresh is me going through all the different sizes, right? It looks like this You know, when I do it, I say, okay, how is this? Here we have like a tiny little phone and it gets bigger, right? This is how designers have to work now. Every single spot has to look great. And so at this size that we had, and I'll just stop it here and then make sure these match. Um, there's a bunch of changes. So you can see there's more space around the edges. Generally speaking, in this design, I've gone and we've added some space and breathing room around a lot of the stuff that was kind of cramping up the site. In 2014, we felt like we had to cram it all in. 2020, let it breathe. All right. So what else is new? Well, look at these beautiful credits. I don't know why we didn't have them before, but I sure as heck love them now. When you're in the full site, we always had the credits at the top. But on mobile, the credits previously were only down at the bottom of the article. I won't scroll all the way down. That's boring. But there we go. Isn't it great? Don't you love it? If you're an author or a translator, won't you love to see your beautiful little picture there? And when I'm reading a story, I always want to know who wrote it when I start reading it. And so here we go. It's perfect. You could see also in the old version, the translations and categories didn't show by default. You had to open this up and then find the buttons and maybe click them, and the categories were like that too. And I don't know how many people use those buttons, but really I think it's a lot more effort than it's worth. And in the new one, we just show the translations. So I think a lot more people are going to find that useful, even more than in the large size one where they had to go on the side. Here they had to click through that button. And if you don't know the word translations, it's not going to help you. Whereas this way, if you know the word Espanol, then it doesn't matter if you can read any English at all. And then we also have the categories in this box. I don't know if any of you used that, but if you did, you can find them on the new design by scrolling down to the bottom of the post, and we've got them here. And I think that's a better trade-off, because when you get to the bottom of the post, maybe you're ready for something else. Maybe you want something more about freedom of speech or travel, and you can just click that link and find all those other posts about it. All right, so that's the mobile version. The headline is bigger at this size. If we went down to the phone size, we'd find it's not that much bigger. Although there is a big change that it will be impossible to show here. But if you've got an Android device, there's a good chance the layout's going to change significantly, because big Android phones were previously getting the tiny phone kind of layout, and now they'll get the big phone layout. So that's I think it's going to be a good change for people on Android. If you've got like a bigger iPhone, it won't make a difference. All right. Well, that is the important things about the article page. I hope you like that. I hope this is the main thing people spend their time on is the article pages. So what else is there? Well, there's the home page, and here we have two versions. Here is the older one, and the thing I will direct your attention to is this section here where you have the list of posts, right? Sometimes you have multiple posts per day. So here on the 20th of May, we've got all these different posts that share the day, right? And we see the day once, we've got this line, and then we see the post with the name of one of the authors and a category. Now, what's in the new one? Well, it looks pretty similar when we're just comparing these two, but scroll down and we'll notice quite a few things are different. So I'm going to line this up so we can compare. All right. So first things first, less lines. You could see it all in between the posts here. You could see it in the headings here. We've removed a heck of a lot of lines because, I don't know, fresh look. Looks clean to me. I like it. And so we've also removed these date blocks, right? The date no longer shows in between them. Instead, we just show the date on each post. Look, it's subtle. It hides. It's a little repetitive every now and then, but I think visually you can ignore it most of the time unless you care. Unless you're like, oh, wait, it's freaking 2018. This post got really old all of a sudden. Yeah, well, what else is new? Well, the images are a lot bigger. They're now 25% of the total width instead of 33, so significant increase. We got a lot of great images. Back in 2014, we were a little scarce on great, bright images, but we really fixed that up. So that is a nice change that we made to take advantage of that. And then the headlines got a little bigger. So overall, the headlines and the images take up a lot more of the space. These little badges for our special projects like COVID and AdVox are different. They're more tall and they're less disruptive. The old way, I don't know why we kept it for so long. It moves the excerpts over and makes them go to lots of lines. In the new one, they sort of hide out over here, and they can be bolder without being as this disruptive to the layout. I mean, yeah, you get community and you got RuneNet Echo. All right, all the old favorites. So there you go. That's the cleaned up design. I'll do a quick little, how does it look on mobile? So as you may or may not know, this is how it looks on mobile. It's sort of the same, but with no sidebar. And that was the old one, and here's the new one. So what a difference we get at some of these tablet sizes. I've really tried to review all the tablet sizes and make sure it's bright and dynamic. And then I'll get us somewhere along the lines of big Android or an iPhone here. And yeah, so you can see the old one. I don't know, it's looking kind of weird, and I really like the clean new look. Slightly bigger headlines, and we managed to fit the dates in here. Now, I don't know if you notice. Hope it's okay. Hope it's okay, everyone, because I love you and I appreciate your work. And I know how hard you work on Global Voices, and I would never want to take that for granted. But we made a change, and that is there's no longer an author credit on the homepage, right? Check it out. Now, does it look better? I mean, old one, new one. Check out especially that section with the name and the category. Oof. It's a little nicer. And I don't want to take it away from anyone, but it's so nice and clean, When readers are at this point, they don't want a ton of information about the post. They want to know if they're going to read it or not. They want to decide. When we want them to decide. We want them to pick a post to read it. So we need to keep this clean. And the thing about names is they're messy. Some of them are really long, and some of them are really short, and some of them are in different languages. If you're on, say you're on the Arabic site, and you're on the old version of the Arabic site, check this out. You get a bunch of Arabic text and then a Latin name because the original author was in Latin. And all kinds of things can happen with here, and that doesn't look super awesome. So, and then on top of it, really long names. If you're on mobile, sometimes at the point where we're showing the names still, you get these like names that kind of disrupt the whole layout. And the nice thing about the category and the date is they're really predictable. They're only so big. Middle East and North Africa is pretty big, but so Sub-Saharan Africa, but at least we can predict and they don't get any longer. And so for now, we're going to go with this. And hopefully you understand, and hopefully it doesn't hurt anyone's feelings, because we really think that getting people into your stories, getting to them to the point where they're reading it, that's what's really important. And remember, if someone's reading it on a tablet or on a phone, they're going to see a whole lot more of you with this design, right? Like, we hope we're balancing it out, because I really want to emphasize the contributors, but at the right time, at the right moment, the beginning and end of a post when someone is really interested. All right, so what else do I have to say? I don't know. You've been so patient. Thank you. This is not the end. This is just a bunch of easy wins we wanted to grab and put out there, because we just want a fresh look. We want something for everyone to be excited about. We've got a lot more changes coming down the line. We're going to be doing some A/B testing. We're probably going to say, like, how big should these headlines be? Because you make them bigger and they look cool, but then you're like, So we're going to test it. We're going to take this size, we're going to take an even bigger size, and we're going to run it in Google Analytics and say, which one do people click on more? Because really they both look good. Which one do people click on more? That's what's more important. So you might see some weird stuff happening, but in all cases, everything you see should look good. It should all be stuff that's like, I could take either of these. If you see something that looks bad, you got to get in touch with me, because I don't know, especially in the weird little corners of the site, the stuff that's not on every page that I might not have seen. If you see some of that on GV and you think, this seems like it's part of that Refresh 2020, I watched that wonderful YouTube video about. Just get in touch. You can contact me. jer@globalvoices.org is my email, or webmaster@globalvoices.org comes to me, or you can come find my user profile here on the community site and use the email and author form to email it to me. And by the way, while you're doing that, you can tell me if there's a problem with the email and author form, because I don't know if I tested that. Anyway, I love you. Bye-bye.